Welcome to Getting It Right by the New Zealand Society of Genealogists. I'm your presenter, Sarah Hewitt. For the notes that accompany this presentation and the other Getting It Right learning resources, please see our website www.genealogy.org.nz.
In this presentation, we're going to look at how to keep ourselves organised. Why is this important? Well, it saves us time looking for things that we've already got. It saves us money because we know we've got things we've already got. And it saves us from making mistakes because if we can't find a record when we're looking for it that we know we have, we might make assumptions. And those assumptions might be wrong. But I am going to be a bit annoying and not tell you how to do it. Because one person's messy desk is another person's intricate filing system. So get out on the internet and find some ideas that suit you. And do make sure they suit you. Don't do it just because somebody else has suggested it. Now the next point I like to make is that you need to have a complete set of your records. And I make it sound like there is really an option, but if you're only starting out now, digital is definitely the way to go. It's easier to back up and it takes up a lot less space. There are people I know who've been doing genealogy for decades longer than me that have entire rooms of their house dedicated to it because they have that many pieces of paper. Now before I move on to a few points that I do want to make, I need to clarify some things. And that's the difference between a file and a folder. A file is a document. It's your source. It's one thing like a Word document or a PDF or a photo file. And a folder is what those files go into. In the paper world, file and folder can be a bit interchangeable, but on your computer, this is what I mean. So, there are a few things you want to consider when you're getting yourself organised. How are you going to structure your folders, both online and offline? So your paper files should reflect the files on your computer. Now you also need to think about how you're going to structure your file names. They really do need to include 4 key pieces of information: the names of the people involved, the event, the date and the place. Why do you need to include these? Well, some records, like parish records, are not necessarily going to have the place name written at the top of the page, and if you haven't recorded it in the file name, you might not know where it was. You can put these in any order. Just find an order that makes it easiest for you to find what you're looking for when you go looking for it. And the last thing to think about is where are you going to file records for married women? I personally keep records for after they're married with their husband's family and before they're married with their birth family. It just makes it easier because the names match what's on the record. But whatever you do and however you do it, please try to be consistent. You don't need to do it right from the get-go, but the longer it takes you to figure out how you're going to do your filing, the more records you're going to have to rearrange. And I can't stress this enough. Back up, back up, back up. We're very lucky these days with the technologies available that there are many different ways you can back up. Now let's go and have a quick look at computer software. Because we're in the modern computer age, there are both offline and online options. Offline are computer programs that sit on your computer. Online ones are those that are held up on somebody's website. I would suggest if you're just starting out that you start with an offline program. And then when you've done some research, you can look at the options for getting your information online. Now I'm going to go through a bit more information on these to explain my reasoning behind this suggestion. First of all, we have online family trees. These are great for finding cousins because they match your tree with other trees. But there's a lot of buts that go with them. First of all, they're only available online. So if you're going to visit Great Aunt Lottie up at Kilmarnock Heights Rest Home to show her your research, but you've run out of data or there's no Wi-Fi, you can't get at it. Secondly, the cost. A lot of these websites will eventually want to charge you for something, and it will be an ongoing cost, not just a one-off. The next part is people will take your research. And now I have to admit I'm a bit guilty of this. I use it for inspiration, but people won't get in touch when they do it. And the last one, which is the one that annoys people the most, is people stealing your granny. What this means is that they take the details of a family member from your family tree and they put it on their family tree when you know that they're not related to you. It can be very annoying to genealogists to see information that isn't correct out on the internet. And a key thing to note that if you are using an online family tree as a source, you need to find the original sources. That online tree itself is not a source. It's merely inspiration. As for offline family trees, the ones that sit on your computer, well, they're also a great research tool as well as an organizer. They'll do reports. They'll allow you to slice and dice your data in different ways so you can figure out where you have holes in your research. Many of the family trees that are out there these days are free or they have a one-off cost. It's usually to unlock other features on the program. And there is a huge variety. I'm going to show you in a minute some of them. I'm quite horrified at how many there are, but you'll find one that works for you. And the great thing about these offline ones is you don't need to upgrade. If you're happy with it, stick with it. I know people who are using a 2006 version of a family tree program. They don't see any need to change, so they just haven't. But because you're not online, you don't have that cousin bait element of having your family tree out there where everyone can see it. Here are merely a few of the family tree programs that are available, and I know of a few more that aren't here. Try one, and if you don't like it, try another one. But some of you are probably sitting there thinking, hold on a second, Sarah. If I've gone and put all my information into one of these computer programs and then I decide I don't like it, how do I get it into another computer program? Do I have to retype it? The answer is no. There's this great thing called a GEDCOM, a genealogical data communication file that has the suffix GED. It's basically a text file, but I wouldn't recommend using it in a text editor because you'll probably just break it. The great thing about it is it allows transfer of data across platforms. So if you have a Mac and a PC or an Android, you can use it to transfer data across them. You can use it between all sorts of software, both online and offline. So if Cousin Bob that you're collaborating with has a family tree program that you have tried and you found it a bit annoying, you don't need to worry because he can just send you a GEDCOM and you can send him one back. And therefore it's great for transferring information between family members. Because we do so much of our genealogy online these days, it's very important for us to stay smart online. Genealogy is no different to anything else you would do online, so use those same precautions. And as a last point, privacy. If you don't want information about your family out there, don't put it out there. It's as simple as that. And this does include sending it to other family members. Once information leaves your personal PC, you have absolutely no control over what happens to it. So bear that in mind. Thank you for joining us. I'll see you in our next presentation on searching. For further information, see our website www.genealogy.org.nz, and we'd like to thank the Wellington Masonic Club for their support in making these presentations. See you next time.